Let that shit slide. Let that shit slide.
Man, put the eighth down and come solve these problems.
Demetrius, what did they call you where you from, bro? Like, what? That's question number one. You know, I got to get that out. So, what they call you where you from?
Blak.Boy. Yeah, I don't know how it began, who even began it, but yeah, that was definitely it, Blak.Boy. Of course, I had the old in-house name from my dad. I ain't gonna release that one. You know how that is. Your little nickname from your parents. You know how them be the embarrassing ones. But it actually wasn't bad because I know people that go by it.
Wait a minute. I don't even remember this though. Like I know your daddy called you something, but
yeah, I'll tell you because it's crazy that I know. I know like 2 or 3 people that's just their name. Everybody know them in the streets that way. But it was Poopy D. So I mean, I know you probably know Poopy. You know what I mean? I know.
I know that name. I know. Yeah, I know that. But now that you said it, I don't remember. Okay, great. Break it down. Talk to me.
So I mean, that was just growing up. It's like you don't want nobody to know that name because that's just all. Unless it was like something smooth or cool, you know what I mean? But then you get older and it's like, oh, I know people that's in the street with that name. Like sis, like Brandy, you know what I mean? My dad called her Stink Pot. Where that came from, but I'm pretty sure she don't want nobody to know that. You know what I'm saying? Because that's just that, that home nickname, so.
Right.
But I'm all right with it, you know what I'm saying? And it's cool. It's not that bad. But, yeah, so Poopy and Poopy D and Blak.Boy. Mostly
Blak.Boy. Now, so
of our age, Blak.Boy.
So still to this day, people call you Blak.Boy?
Back home. I've relocated from Florida to Georgia, so nobody knows me as that up here. And that lifestyle is kind of, I'm far removed from that, so not in the streets. And not that it was really a quote-unquote street name, but, just running a totally different path right now. And so, nobody knows me by that.
Okay. Now, if Pops called you right now, would he call you, Demetrius, or he going to call you Poopy D?
He gonna call me Demetrius now. Yeah, okay. He'll call me Demetrius now. So yeah, it's crazy. I ain't heard him say that in a long time though. I might bring that up to him and ask him like where that even come from.
Right. We need to know the origin of that one. Hell yeah, straight up. No, so let me tell you why I asked that though, man, because you really kind of broke it down. Because if you relocated to a new location, and if you go there and you introduce yourself, you can tell them your name's Steve. They got to go with that unless they got your ID. You can tell them whatever you would like to. You see what I mean? And so your previous life, you can leave that far behind. You can be removed from that until maybe somebody come up in you from your past and then, expose that. Now, the nickname, though, it takes you to a certain spot. So if you were in your location and somebody from that location was like, what up, Blak.Boy? You'd be like, nigga, well, who is it? It would throw you off. But if it's somebody from the crib calling you that, you'll be like, yeah, that's hometown right there. That's, you get that feeling again. So, yeah, that name means something. That name.
The main person that still, I don't mean to cut you off, that still call me that to this day, like, without fail, pretty much, is James. Like, Jeezy still call me. I call him right now. He's like, what's going on? I'm like, what? Or he going to say Kenfo. You know what I'm saying? But he the one that really been holding on to that, though.
Yeah. I still call you that too a little bit, but
yeah. I will say that you do too. Yeah, you do too.
Okay. Did your mom have a name that she did she call you anything, or did Margaret call you anything?
Honestly, not that I can remember, because both of them passed when we were younger, and I don't remember. I believe my mom she just called me by my name, and as did Margaret too. So, or it was like minus the D, and it was just Metrius or something like that. You know what I mean? Metrius, my dad's grandmother used to just call me that a lot too, Metrius.
Now that's what I remember. I remember that all day. All right, well, let's get to it. What is your motto in life? Words to live by, or either words to die to. Like, you have anything like that?
I think it's kind of changed over time, kind of with, you know, the circumstances or whatever life is kind of looking like. But ultimately, I do live and die by do unto others as you would have them do unto you. I do believe in that, like really respecting somebody, you know what I mean? And I mean, that's man, woman, or child, dog. Respect is due to a dog. We all know that. You know what I mean? You got to give them respect. You know what I mean? Because respect is due to a dog. I mean, you got to give it if you want to receive it. So I live and die by that.
How did you deal with disrespect?
To be honest, in my life, fortunate enough to not have dealt with it a lot, especially as a black man growing up and having a time where I was running the streets and running in, you know, having run-ins with the law and stuff like that. I was fortunate enough to not be one of the ones that had to deal with, you know, what came with all that, what some people would face. And I've never really had to deal with it much. I mean, there's been, you know, small, it wasn't, you know, no real pressure where it was like, hey, you just disrespected me, though. You know what I mean? Other than something like, and this gonna take us somewhere else too. Other than like, you know, as a kid growing up, and there's a situation where you remember I disrespected you and violated you, and you had to set me correct because back then you used to do your karate. When I kissed your girlfriend, picture of you, that was huge. What? You remember that? What? So other than that, the situation when you remember I used to talk to Tanya. So I don't know if you remember Leland was growing with. Yeah, he used to do that all the time. Used to, you know, disrespect me with that. But it's like we were kids, you know, we 18 years old, and he used to always want to try and touch on Tanya and stuff like that. But, you know, growing up as an adult, no, I never really, you know, like real disrespect. You know what I mean? But he and I used to have to fight all the time. You know what I mean? And then after it up later, we friends the next day. You know what I mean? Playing together. Because that's, you know, he was my buddy down there. He was in our age bracket. So other than that, but I don't really think that.
I want to ask you something on that. Even in that, when y'all did fight, y'all weren't trying to like fight to like hurt each other in the sense of I'm trying to kill you. Fight like I'm. It's like, man, you disrespecting me, bro. You got to show me one. Okay, we squabble, but then we good after that. I think
that's all it was.
Yeah, that's different, man. Yeah. You know, that's guys being guys. I'm actually all right with that. But even in that, was it these old fuck nigga pussy nigga was y'all doing all that too, or it was?
No, it was never anything like that. Of course, you know, back then, the way the kids is nowadays, 18 years old, they talking like that. We weren't talking like that. You know what I mean? Because you know, that just wasn't really in our vocabulary. Not that we know curse words and, you know what I mean, talking like that, but we weren't like that. You know what I mean? It was just, hey, man, you ain't finna touch my girl, booty. Do it. Oh, you got to show me one. You know what I'm saying? We got to square off now, and once we run it, then that's just kind of it. You know what I mean? Because we partners, and we just going to, you know, dap it up at the end of the day, and we'll be right there playing tomorrow or the next day.
Yeah, I agree.
Yo, kids today, man, it's different, man. Like you know, me and my wife, we kind of, man, we be kind of skeptical about letting Major go outside. You know, he the oldest and he the only boy, and we let him go out here in middle school now. So it's like, you know, we let him go outside and, you know, going around the corner with his friends and stuff like that. But a lot of them, you know, like the kids, when they be coming, they ain't got no respect for adults. You know what I'm saying? Like, my wife would be out, like playing with the little ones or something like that. When the group of kids walk by, you know, like if we seen an adult, it was like, man, if we did say a little cuss word here and there, it was like, you know, I don't know if you ever watch Key and Peele, that episode when they were talking about the wife and they were like, bitch, and they had to go, you know what I mean, like hide somewhere to say a cuss word. Like, you remember that episode?
Right.
I don't know if you ever watched Key and Peele.
Yes.
But it was something like that. You know what I mean? We're seeing an adult. It's like, man, I'm gonna get right. Yes, sir. No, sir. You know, that kind of thing. But now it's like, man, I'd heard myself, like, kids 10, 12 years old running with my kids, like, they saying bitch, they saying fuck, they saying everything, like, right in front of you. Like, there's no respect at all. So, you know, we weren't like that. You know what I mean? Even still to this day, you know, stuff like that. Like, I remember one time, I don't know if this is off subject, but I remember one time, I think I'm like 19, 20 years old. I'm an adult. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna say like I'm grown, like, you know what I mean, how everybody look, I'm grown, but you ain't paying on your own bills. So I might not have been that old because I think I was still at home. But I was up there, and I remember one time I was at the house and just talking with my pops, and that's down and said a cuss word. I think I said shit or something like that. And when I released that, I immediately, like, in my soul, everything just dropped to the floor, like, oh, my bad, Dad. You know what I mean? I'm sorry. I'm like, you know what I mean? I please forgive me. You know what I mean? I apologize for a while. I think even years later, it was like came up, he and I having a conversation about something, and I apologized to him again about it. Like, now, every time, like, I'm grown, got my own spot. And, like, you know, like, ah, man, sorry about that. You know what I'm saying? And I never did it again. But that moment, though, when it initially happened, he was like, you ain't got to worry about it. He's like, you grown. You know what I'm saying? Like, you grown. And I'm like, no, you know, I don't see it that way because, you know, my age ain't got no closer to your age. Every year I get older, you get older. Yeah, so I'm still that baby to you. And, no, that's total disrespect. No. So, you know, I don't just see how some people, you know, can do that. But, you know, it is what it is. You know what I mean? The dynamics of their house is different than mine. And, you know, their upbringing was different than mine. So, you know, if they feel comfortable doing it, then, you know, hey, that's them.
Yeah, that speaks to how you was raised. And
right. And even as we grew up, you know, stuff like, I still to this day, you know what I mean? Like, if I'm smoking or I'm drinking, I'm riding, you know what I mean? We all done did it, smoking and drinking or something like that, like got music playing or something like that. Even I'm riding past the church. Oh, that music's gonna get cut down. I ain't even on church ground, but I'm riding past it. I gotta respect that. You know what I'm saying? So it's stuff like that too. Like, no, even if I got something burning in my hand, like I ain't gonna toke it. You know what I mean? I'm gonna just hold it till I get on past this thing. Still the same thing. I mean, I'm doing what I'm doing, and you know, I can't do nothing about it. But it's just, you know, I believe in that though. You know what I mean? Because I can remember being at church and somebody coming up to church, and yeah, it was somebody off the streets and trying to come in from, you know, for a prayer or whatever it was. He was there for. I remember this guy. And so it was a white guy. He came up there to Ewan one day, and we were all standing outside after church and stuff like that. And dude walked right up there talking to us, like smoking a cigarette and stuff like. Everybody kind of looking at him like, hey, you couldn't have put that out and walk up here on church ground, like right in the midst of everybody just smoking your cigarette. Like, I would never do stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? If anything, man, I'm trying to chew 1,000 pieces of gum while I walk up on the church if I had just been smoking or drinking, you know what I'm saying, or something like that. And no, I can't, you know, but, you know, everybody different. So I don't know if that's off subject.
No, bro, you said some good stuff right there. I mean, you're showing reverence, you know, you're showing respect, but it also speaks to how your foundation, how you were brought up. Like, everything you're saying right now, that's not foreign to me, but people listening, that might be foreign to them. You know, they was raised a little bit differently. We was raised that way. Yeah, I'm down with that. You kind of took me back to my childhood though. Like, what do you remember my dad? Do you remember my dad at all?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
like,
I remember him. Absolutely.
He was kind of chill, right? He was kind of a mild-mannered person. You would never really see him get too rah-rah.
Right.
I want to say maybe I was about, maybe, I don't know, 11. I'm going to say about that age. I feel comfortable with that. 11, 12, maybe 10. No, yeah, about 11 or 12, up in there. So, you know, he had another family and everything, so he got with my stepmom, and she had some children, so we were all in the back seat. He was with, you know, I'm with my stepbrothers, and they back there talking, we back here talking or something like that, and my dad driving, and I say, bumba clap, or something like that, because one of my stepbrothers was telling me to say it. I was like, you ain't even saying it right. You supposed to say it like this, bumba clap, bumba clap. And my dad heard me. He's like, don't say that. He said, don't say that no more. And he said it stern, right? And I shut up because I ain't never even really heard him talk like that. And then, you know, I'm back there with my stepbrothers. That nigga told me that he did so, he said so. I said it again, like loud. And my dad pulled over the car straight up. I put this on everything. He pulled the car over, got out the front seat, walked to the back. I'm in the seat directly behind him. He opened the door. He popped me in my mouth, slapped the shit out of me like just a quick pop, like pop. Right. Don't say it. And he said it. Don't say that again. And got back in the car and driver's seat and kept going. Now I remember that because my dad ain't never hit me. My dad, like, that wasn't ever a thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, my mom would whoop my ass. But my dad, like, nah, he gonna talk to me, and I'm gonna listen. But that day I was feeling myself. I'm with them. I'm trying to show out. And he did that. And it just showed me, like, I ain't never did that again. And not because he hit me, but it's more of, like, just the respect factor. Like, I know I don't even do that. That ain't even my style. But today I'm trying to do something different, being with them. And he showed me. And he got out of his character, but it's because I got out of my character. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know, it just stood out to me. And when you were saying what you said with your dad, in the sense of y'all grown, like, that happened to me when I was a child, like, and I still, like, never did that ever again. So when I'm around older people, I do things differently. And watch this. When I'm around children, I do things differently as well. I know how I live. You know what I'm saying? And all that stuff you just said, the way we live and what we do, yeah, man, I'm not cool with bringing that around children in any kind of way. But I got a lot of people around me who don't mind doing it. So if I'm coming around you and I don't mind, but yet you do it around them, I'm in your environment. You know what I'm saying? But I wouldn't do that. That's just me. That ain't my thing. So go ahead.
Now, what you saying about that, like with kids, I'm the same way. Because like I said earlier, respect is due to a dog. So, you know, even with a child, I'm the same way. Now, you know, my oldest is 12 years old. And for 12 years, even though I smoke, I drink, my wife smoked and have and drank, they have never seen it. You know what I'm saying? We wouldn't dare ever. Like, sneaking around, it's like, I'm grown. You know what I mean? But I'm sneaking around a kid. You know what I mean? Like, you don't pay nothing up in here. You don't feed yourself. You know what I mean? But it's like, yeah, because it's like, I respect you enough to allow you to make your own decisions. I can't keep telling you that this is wrong, but I'm doing it right here in front of you. I've never liked, you know, going around people and you know, everybody's different. And like hearing people like dog their kids out, like call them every name in the book. And it's like, man, how can you talk to a child like that, man? Like, this is a kid. Especially if they like major age and under, like 12 and under, like you, 15 and under. You know what I mean? Still a child. Think about when you were that age, man. Like, you want to make mistakes. You make mistakes now as a grown up. But especially like young kids, like, and you a single digit child under 10, and you just sit your motherfucking man down if I beat this, you know, and stuff like that. Like, whoa, come on, man. And I done been sitting up on the, you know, at people's houses, and I just kind of, in my spirit, just like, whoa, man, I can imagine. So when the child going do this outside of the home, it's like, this is what they learning. You know what I'm saying? Like, they go off on the teacher or somebody at school. It's like, you can't really be mad at them because this is what you're teaching them. You know what I'm saying? And it's like you're teaching them that to degrade someone else. You know what I mean? Because they're being degraded at home. You know what I mean? And everything starts at home. So it's like, man, I definitely don't agree with that. But yeah, it's like, I've always hid it from my kids. You know, I'm actually to this day. You know what I'm saying? Like, smoke now. And go outside, and we trying to hide. You know what I'm saying? We're going to lay around the corner, around the house. You know what I'm saying? Just to get good rain real quick. Or wait until it's late night and they sleep. You know what I'm saying? Like, now as far as like drinking, they don't know what's in my cup. You know what I mean? But anytime like we come back in the house, like a lot of times the kids, we try to sneak outside. One of them try to run up to us. Like both of us, what we try to do is, as soon as we come in the house, we flying in the bathroom, wash my hands, get that little smell off my hand real quick, my gargle real quick, kind of freshen up. You know what I mean? I'm kind of airing my clothes out because I don't want them to smell that. We've been a couple times, they were like, you smell funny or something like that. Like, yeah, I don't know. They were just outside or something, you know what I mean, or whatever. But, you know, if I be sipping something in my cup, you know what I mean, I make sure, you know what I mean, they don't get up on me because I got young girls. They always want to talk in my lap, daddy this, daddy that, in my face. And, you know, no, man, you got to have respect for the child too, though. But, you know, like you said, so there's going to be some people that's going to hit it, and they do it. Maybe it convicts them and they turn it around. Maybe they won't because, you know, they was raised up being yelled at, talked to like that, or, you know what I'm saying, had a parent that smoked and drank in front of them and just didn't tell. You know what I'm saying? But, and you can't say nothing about it. You know what I mean? Many times, even if it's family, like, many times, like, my sister them, or, not Brandon them would do that, but stepsister them, or, you know, anybody's like, cuz, like, man, I just want to say something so bad, but at the same time, it's like, I can't tell you what to do with your kid. It's your house. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I don't want you trying to come over here and tell me what to do in my house.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? As long as I'm breathing, I ain't finna let nobody come up in my house and and get loud and try to tell me what to do in my house, and you don't do nothing over here, yeah, you're going to get down here.
Yeah, that do make sense. All right, well, let's get to the next one. All right, so has someone ever given you a last chance, and for what? Ultimatum type shit.
I think it's been said, but nothing really changed or came out of it if I turned around and still did the same thing. And the only thing I can think of specifically, like, you're a married man, I'm a married man. And I've been with my wife since high school. So we high school sweethearts, and in 3 more days, the 31st of this month will be 21 years altogether. So, of course, when I was in the streets and stuff like that, you know, she used to give me that ultimatum, like, look, I can't keep doing this, you know what I mean? You're going to jail or, you know, whatever, and, you know, I ain't going to be here. You know what I mean? I can't keep dealing with this, or, you know, you trying to be out there. But the idea, I did it again, or, you know, before we was married, you know what I mean? Chasing every little skirt tail I seen, you know what I mean? It was like, find out about something. I can't. And having to do it again, and, you know, here we are still, like I said. So, other than that, you know, I can't really think of any other situation where I was given a last chance. But even given that last chance, I mean, I'm still with her. So, you know, I just thank God for that, because she's been huge in my life. So
that's beautiful. Okay. When have you ever made the first move?
The first move. And you're talking anything?
Anything. I'm super vague.
I guess I can, with many things, I can always reference my marriage. So there was times where, you know, just exposing myself. I know it might sound crazy, and somebody might hear this and be like, nigga did what? Yeah, so there was just times where it was just like, I'm just going to tell her, you know what I mean, about what I've done, stuff she don't even know about, you know what I mean, or felt like, you know, I done quit cheating or something like that, you know what I'm saying, and I just like, I'm going to make this move, and you know what I mean, because I need to get it off my chest. It's bothering me, you know what I'm saying, and I always felt like it's a lot of things I don't want to go to the grave with, you know what I'm saying, and I owe that to her. So, yeah, I think something like that. I'm pretty sure there's many situations, but I can definitely think of that.
So you told her things that she didn't already know and that she didn't ask you? Like, you just voluntarily gave the information to her?
Correct. There was a time where, yeah, I had messing around, and we were having a situation, and this was just, mind you, we've been married for 11 years. Now, this was way back, but she didn't know about it. And so I felt like, okay, it's the past. I just want to, you know what I mean? What can you do now? Get it off my chest. And so there's been a lot of times we'll have a conversation about, you know, is there anything else that I don't know about? And of course I'm like, no, you know enough right now. I can't lay this on you. You know what I'm saying? I don't need you to leave right now. And not ever for that matter, but, you know, like, I think you got enough right now. Maybe in a year I'll lay something else. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it was a situation where it was just like, yeah, I just, you know, oh, you remember this person, that person, or something like that. And I remember this one particular person where when she found out, you know, I had for a long time, she thought we was cousins. You know what I mean? She tell her we were that cousin. I mean, had her take me over there one time. You know what I'm saying? But granted, she was going to see her cousin, and they live in the same complex. And so I was like, man, she can go over here to Cole's house real quick. And then I'll walk over there, because I know she was going to be over there for a little minute. So we go over there, a little quickie real quick or something. You know what I'm saying? Didn't even know. I didn't do the quickie, but that's what I had in mind. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, no, it might be too strong on me or something like that. And then I can't jump in the shower. Like, what you jumping in the shower for? You know, now you smell like soap, so what you doing that for? So, but still, you know, stuff like that is just came out later that, you know, no, that wasn't really cause, you know, it was like this.
How'd you feel afterwards, though? Because, how'd you feel after you, like, let it all out?
I mean, I felt better. To be honest with you, like I said, it was something I wanted to get off my chest. You know what I mean? Like, I just wanted to tell her, you know what I mean? Because it's the past. And my wife, you know, of course, ain't none of us perfect, so she ain't no saint. You know what I mean? We both did something like that, you know, before. And, you know, when she kept finding out about some stuff, and, you know what I mean? So she, you know, I don't know if she did it out of spite or revenge or whatever, but women are big on conversation and stuff like that. So, of course, we always say, it ain't fun when a rapper got a gun, but we see it as, you can't do that. You know what I'm saying? And not saying what I did is cool, but, I know for you, there was a little more attachment there because generally as women, and then me knowing my wife specifically, now this was like, of course, before marriage, like way back, we was like high school. I know specifically, like, you got to talk to somebody, you know what I'm saying, and get comfortable and doing stuff. And back then, I don't know if you remember, like, she used to sing and record and stuff like that. And she wanted to go the entertainment direction. And so there was a time where some guys she, we were recording with and going to the studio with, and just that, over and over and talking and stuff like that went down. And so, yeah, it's just, I felt better, though, getting it off. She told her dirt, you know what I mean? And, when we would have conversations, but, yeah, a lot of it, I just kind of, well, let me tell you about this one. Oh, yeah, I did this one. Oh, yeah, you remember that girl? Yeah, that one too. So it felt good. But it was nerve-wracking at the same time because, of course, I'm always feeling like, it's a lot of time here. And I don't want this to be something where you just, like, you want to walk now. You know what I'm saying? So
Did she forgive you?
She has. She's forgiven him, but of course it's definitely something that's not forgotten. So there were times where, of course, a lot of people would say, well, then you weren't forgiven, but, granted, situations might go down and it come back up, something like that. But, I was forgiven for it. And then, as she's done therapy and tried to work on herself, and she was just like, well, it is what it is. That's something I got to let go. I can't keep holding on to, stuff like that from the past. You know what I mean? We here now, especially now, 5 kids in, 21 years in. It's like, it is what it is. It was what it was, you know what I mean? But, that's why I was saying to her, like, with yours was some type of connection. For us, for men in general, especially me, it was just like, this is what I needed. You know what I mean? See, well, all my brothers do this, and cousins, and all my partners, this was the street life. Like, man, smoke, drink, hang out, cut something, So there's no attachment. It was just like, what's up? You what you trying to do? All right, bang, we do it, and that's just that. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing else involved with this. So, I think that's why us as men in general feel differently about it when, the rapper get the gun. It's like, hey, bro, like, how could you, it hurt. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, I know it took a little more for you. That wasn't just no cut thing. You know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah. Now, when you tell me stuff like that, it make me feel like if you weren't doing all that and she, didn't know. Okay, this is what I was saying. She probably wouldn't have went out with any other dudes if you were into her and giving her the energy you giving all the other women. What you think of that?
Yeah, I do. And then too, we've had conversations. Even recently, just last week, just talking about some of the old stuff and some of that stuff and how that went down. So it was like, back then it was like, how high school, okay, you had some wheels. I wasn't fortunate enough, came up, in a bigger household, and not that it was a bigger household, but, because you worked and stuff and made your own money and stuff like that too, but, I didn't have wheels and stuff like that. So she was, it was more of a thing like, well, this guy was like, well, come to my house, want to take me out. It wasn't nothing like that with you. It almost seemed like, even though she was all for it, we were just in love, puppy love, and all we was doing was cutting all the time, or she coming out to see me, coming up to the block, like, hey, man, I'm up here at the spot, like, bring me something to eat, stuff like that. Or anytime her parents sent her something, she sent her somewhere, her living in Arvindale, she would always be trying to come to Lakeland and throw in this little extra trip to come see me. So it was like, these guys were doing something you weren't. You know what I mean? They was talking to me, we had a good conversation, and, had a call, so it was like, take me somewhere. You know what I'm saying? You weren't doing that. You know what I mean? And so, they fill the void. So that's why I say, like, it always hurt differently, because it's like, there's a little more going on there. But, when I look back over this, like, we've had multiple conversations throughout the years, since being married. Like, okay, I get that. You know what I'm saying? And I apologize. Matter of fact, I just asked her a couple of days ago, like, this was like Tuesday, Wednesday, on my way home from work. I was just talking, and I was like, is there anything that I can do to redeem myself, I guess, if that's the word to use, from those times? You know what I mean? Like, if going forward, do you feel as though the things we do, as far as the trips we take and the time spent, and do you feel like that makes up for what I have done, or is it just something that just happened and there is no, I guess, quote unquote, redemption of that, you know what I mean, or making up for it, you know what I mean? And so she was just like, it's just, I guess it's just kind of a thing where, that was our past, you know what I mean? We was kids, we was young, we was growing together, you know what I mean, trying to learn together, so it was just, I love you, you know what I mean? I'm here with you. So, obviously, in a sense, you've been redeemed, you know what I'm saying? I guess, so let's not just worry about it like that. So, right. I guess it's just me still kind of, feeling bad for what I've done. And when she explained it like that, like, again, you know what I mean, even though she said it before, but like I said, this was just earlier this week having these conversations of the past. And she was like, it was like this. So, they filled the void, and, you weren't doing this, you weren't doing that. Barely could get you to come over here. And I'm like, well, you know how your dad was. First of all, he's a dad. Secondly, he's a dread. Thirdly, he's a pastor. So this guy was very strict. And he like older, like he older, like way older than her mom. Like her mom is like our parents' age. Her mom's like 59, 60. Well, her dad is 74 right now, 73, 74. So he like old school. And even going back, that was what, 20-something years ago, we was in high school, you know what I mean? You see, he's 50-something. So he like old school. Your mom, 30-something, late 30-something. So it's like, she was a little more, her mom was always cool with me. But her dad, man, you talking about would go over there. It's like, I don't want to go over there. Go over there and sit and, he don't want to say nothing to me. You know what I mean? Because he knew, he had heard of things I was doing in the streets and her skipping school, trying to be with me and stuff like that. And so he was upset. And I understand that, especially now that I'm a dad. It's like, man, look, if I ever hear something like that, you know what I mean? Like, I'm getting on both of y'all. That ain't my child, but that little dude gonna have to see me. Shoot. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is,
How soon we forget. How soon we forget.
But then again, it's like, kids these days can't just walk off the campus like we could. You know what I mean? They got these fences up, especially with all the shootings and stuff. You know what I mean? Like back then in high school, man, we used to walk right off Lincoln campus. There wasn't no gates around it. Now that thing, they got them high gates locked up as soon as the bell rang. You ain't no just walking off and on. So I used to, you know what I mean, in her car sometimes, like, all right, she come to school, because, she come from money, and come to school, her little whip. I get the car, you know what I mean? And all right, I'm gonna been a couple blocks real quick, and I'll come pick you up after the first period, second period, or something like that. Just meet me over here by the ankle or somewhere, you know what I'm saying? She walk right on and just get in the car. I mean, or whatever it is, and it's crazy. Having other chicks in her car.
Come on, man, that's life, bro.
That was life, you know what I mean? Yeah, that's his life. Yeah, I mean, that's what it was. So, like I said, we have these conversations. Like, it is what it is. She asked me, like, my hands on my car. More than once. And more than one female. So, yeah. I mean, like, my bad. I wasn't thinking like that. Okay, you know what I'm saying? One salad, you know what I'm saying? And she knew I wasn't salad. She didn't care. That's how we was living. You know what I mean? It was a good girl, bad guy type thing. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, it might be messing up. Let's get to the last one then. How about that? Let's knock this thing out. So let's discuss something in your life you just can't seem to get over or like push through. Like even as time passes though, this not that day-to-day shit. Like this that like, I don't know why, but I keep going through this. Like why this shit keep happening to me, man? Like, well, I don't understand it, You got anything like that in your life?
Yeah, so, again, I guess it's kind of like, marital stuff. You know what I mean? Like, we always seem to have these cycles, you know what I'm saying, that we and trying to break. And we know a lot of it is, generational. Then a lot of it is just us. You know what I'm saying? But we situations like that where, like I was saying about the cheating stuff. Like, of course, she is a lot better at learning to let that stuff go. But there is some bitterness that will come up from time to time, and you know what I mean. I'm learning to be more aware of it now, like seeing the signs and the awkwardness sometimes and stuff like that is just kind of on her mind. But granted, there's probably a lot of times it's, especially now that we've been up here, like we ain't got nobody. So date night, like she just asked me earlier today, like, we gonna go and do something today? You know what I mean? Like date night has not really been a thing for us. Like I think we've probably gone on, in 2 years we've been here in Georgia, probably like 3 dates. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, she wants that time. So it kind of takes her back to those times, like I was saying, like before, where it was like, just coming up and, he was never really a dater and all that kind of sort of thing, and taking you out and doing this. Even if you got somebody else caught that day, you just wouldn't do it, or, stuff like that. That wasn't on my mind that day. You know what I mean? It was like, I'm probably hitting something else right now. You bother me. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. But not that you would bother me, but you know what I'm saying? So, we have these cycles of that. And honestly and transparently too, like financial. Like a lot of times it's like, damn, we be like doing good up and like we're like way up. And I'm talking up where it's times where it's like, we can have literally like times we've had 5-10 grand cash sitting at the house in the drawer. You know what I mean? Because we just, it's surplus. It's just kind of like that. And then we just all of a sudden just get in this habit of spending or ain't watching it, and then boom, we down. You know what I'm saying? It's like, hey, what the fuck with that? You know what I'm saying? Oh, all that eating out with the kids because the kids say they want to go here and there and they want to shop. And then we got 5 kids, so it's 7 people in the household. You know what I mean? And then where we stay at right now, rent is, like $1,400. So it's like, like bills aren't like low. We ain't paying no little $600-700. You know what I mean? And then we're still trying to get a house right now, so trying to save. So cycles of those 2 things are cycles that it's just like, come on, man, it's time to, elevate. Like, we got to get to this point where it's consistent. You know what I mean? We're not going through this all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, over and over and over. And it'd be tough, especially on the financial side, because I'm the breadwinner. I've always been the one to work. And I think in the 20 years that we've been together, because I probably can count on one hand how many jobs my wife has had. Now, she comes from a home, like I said before, of money. Her parents were millionaires, her dad at least anyway, and she comes from a lot of money. And no, that's not the reason for anybody listening. That's not the reason I got with her. I didn't know about all that at first. So, but anyway, and they were entrepreneurs. Her dad has always had a drywall business. Long before she was even born, her mom has always had a business, daycare business. Daycare makes plenty of money, and I'm talking 20, 30 kids, not no little daycare. You know what I'm saying? And even now, like now that they're getting older and reeling it back, she's running a daycare now. Now it is smaller now, but she keeps like 7, 8 kids. You know what I'm saying? But even still, like, entrepreneurship is what she knows. So having a job is like she'll go and work a job 3-4 months. I think maybe the longest one has probably been 5 or 6. And she's like, nah, I just can't really do this. I got to be doing something for myself. So she's always been, all the stuff that she do, all the hats she's wear. She's got certification in so many different things, but all of them are commission-based. Like I said before, like the other day we talked. So if she's not, like life insurance writing a policy, or if she's not witnessing something where her stamping something as a notary or whatever, it's like no money is coming in. And it's been that way for so long, cause you know what I'm saying? And it's like, especially in our married life alone, like the 11 years we've been married and like came to actually living together, because we got our first place together like a couple months before we got married. Like right after major, because we had major before we got married. And it was like, okay, it's time to go ahead and be in the house together. So for 12 and a half years or so, it's like, it's like I've really been that only income and trying to keep us afloat. So we have those cycles, and stuff. I remember the situation where back in like 2015, 14, 15, you know, we got in a situation where things got tight, check to check, and stuff started getting behind. Robin Peters, pay Paul. And, you know, she would always come at me with stuff like little jabs and jeers. And as a man, it hurt because it's like, I'm doing all I can, and I don't want to just come out and just be like, well, where yours at? You know what I'm saying? And we've had this conversation. I have said it to her, like, you know, but hey, this is how I felt. At the time, I couldn't have said it to you because I probably would have got loud. We probably would have got into, you know, something real bad and walked away from each other, whatever. But, you know, it's like, you know, we would get in those situations in the past and it would be like, well, what happened to your plan B? You should have a plan B, plan C, plan D, and da-da-da-da. And I used to be in my mind like, well, where's your plan A at? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? I'm doing all this, you know, all that I can, working good, and especially back then, like, we should have been bought multiple properties back then. You know what I mean? The job when we first started living together in our first or second spot together, rather. Like, back then, it was like, man, I'm working at a company where, man, because I kid you not, there's no cap, man. I barely saw 30 hours at this job, but I was bringing home $900,000 a week. And that was by choice. Because I would get in there, it was production-based. So I would get in there, I would do my piecework, do my pieces, and I felt like, man, I make $200-$300 for the day. I'm gone by lunchtime. You know what I mean? I'm out here, y'all. Y'all do whatever y'all want to do. And it was like that. But we were still young, you know what I'm saying? And weren't thinking of, you know, savings and buying and stuff like that. So, you know, having these, even now today, it's like, you know, school, she's always been going back to school. She's back in school like she just did some accounting and finished that up. So over the years, she's, you know, I know she's working on her thing, and I'm granting her that grace to, you know, do you. But you do know, you know what I mean, like, some help is needed. We get further, you know what I mean, when there is some help here. And I'm granted you take care of the house. You always help with the kids and, you know, stuff like that. But, so yeah, that's just kind of one of those cycles I feel like, you know, it's time to get over this hump. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why I'm so serious. This year has to be the year where, like, a lot of passive income is set up. You know what I mean? Like, we need this residual, like, because I'm tired, cuz. You know what I'm saying? I'm almost 40, and it's like, I'm tired. I've always had, like, jobs where I like, work. You know what I mean? Like, hump. And then I'm expected to come home and help with these kids, too, because you tired. You know what I'm saying? And I have to try to do my part, though, too. But, you know, like, I'm tired. You know what I'm saying? So I need some, you know, a little boost, you know, here. So that, the finances, and then to answer your question, and then, you know, those, you know, they're far apart now, but, you know, those situations where she's kind of, you know, that bitterness of the past kind of comes up, and I got to deal with that. We deal, you know, the awkwardness in the house, and, you know, I ain't really speaking because, for whatever reason, because of my tiredness, you know, I can't really help you much with the kids, or we're unable to get to the dates and stuff like that. And now, you know what I mean, you putting it all together. You going back 20 years and bringing it to date, and it's all wrapped up, and it's like, you know, you mad. Just got to do a better job, I guess, you know. That's just the way the world goes. Like we supposed to be, you know, they always say the superwoman that's on her chest and she do it all, but, you know, no, really. I mean, we are looked at in a whole, we are loved so conditionally, but women and children are loved unconditionally. Like, there's so many conditions on the male, especially the black male. It's crazy. And people don't see it, that we live this way, and we have to dwell on these thoughts, and, you know what I mean, we have to just bite our tongue for so many different things, and it's just like, because we're trying to have peace, and, you know, it's tough. So, man, it's I don't know. They don't see it that way, you know.
Let me ask you something. Do you want her to work? And what I mean is, like, do you want her to work a job to where she's actually making money and not a commission based? Is that something that you want?
Crazy thing is, going back to the way we was raised, I really do believe in man providing. Truthfully, the word is that men, if anybody really read the word and believes and follows that, truthfully, men are called to culture, like create and cultivate the home. You know what I mean? Like, every instruction, every job or whatever was given to Adam. So whatever we set in place, the woman is to then kind of, well, they're called to nurture that. you know what I'm saying, what the man has already, cultivated and put into place. So to answer your question, honestly, I don't want my wife to have to work. To be real with you, like, although she doesn't work, I'll say this: I want to retire her. Like, I want her to never feel like she don't ever have to lift a finger if she don't want to. That's what I believe. That's, you know what I mean? Like, in my upbringing and my studies, that's what I believe. Now, that might be wrong to a lot of other people. Now,
it don't matter. That don't matter. That don't matter. That's your house.
Something to the table, that's a plus. But that's truly how I do feel. But even though, like I said, like earlier, like, I have these thoughts of like, okay, well, where yours at? But at the same time, I feel like, no, I don't want her working on 9 to 5. What she's doing, I would love it if she was, if it is some type of passive stuff, set in place. If she did have her, businesses just in line and she ain't really got to show her face up here and there. And we just traveling, doing things, but it's, it's on me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want her to just chill, truthfully.
If that's how you feel, have you communicated that to her in any kind of way? Does she know what you just said? Like, does she know that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we've had a lot of those conversations, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, when we get into those ruts or whatever, or just sitting down, just having a conversation, just having life conversations, I have, and she knows that. She knows, like, for her peace and her sanity, which then brings me peace and sanity, you know what I mean? And the kids,
sir.
You know what I'm saying? And it is true, happy wife, a happy life. Now, you want your husband to be happy too, you know what I'm saying? I heard some saying of how something like that, similar to the happy wife, happy life, some little rhyme for the husband too, though, but I get it. But, and that's true too, you know what I'm saying? But, I mean, you want your wife happy, you know what I mean? Because it makes the home a better place, though, you know what I'm saying? Like, I want to be able to, you know what I mean, when I get on my quagmire, my giggity, you know what I mean? When you hear that, you know what I'm saying? You know what time it is. And she's all right with that because she know everything else is taken care of. So, you know what I mean, they're a little bit different when it comes to their mindset and the way they think. So a lot of times, like, when they feel stressed and they overwhelmed and they got to think about bills too, because that's our place. Or they got to think about the children because truthfully, that's what we were called to do. When they got to think about all of these different things put together, it's like, and planning and doing all this stuff, it's like, they ain't got time for that. You know what I'm saying? But us, man, we could have just got shot in the dick. Nigga, we trying to use it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just how we are. So it's like, it don't matter. And so, and it's not just, not just sexually or anything like that, but, you know what I mean? It just makes the home a better place, though, you know what I mean, when they are happy. And so I do want to, position them, all of them, her and my children, you know what I mean? Like, this is what it is. I got a son that I got to try to, bring up in the best way I can. And I want him to see, like, this is what we do as men, you know what I'm saying? Like, we can rewrite whatever people think about the black man. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can disrupt, you know what I mean, the whole world with this thing, you know what I mean, disrupt, generational curses and stuff like that has been on our lineage, on our bloodline for so long, you know what I'm saying? And I don't want that, you know what I mean? Because like I said earlier, like, I grew up just seeing, you know what I mean, yeah, all the men in our family has, they'll work, do things like that, but been in the streets at some point and chasing women and stuff like that, and it's like, nobody is really just like, okay, this is where this ends. This ends with me. I'm going to slay this demon, so my children ain't got to slay this demon, or my grandchildren ain't got to slay this demon. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want this to halt right here with me. Nobody has really stepped up to do that in the family, and I want to do that. I don't want things like this to continue, these same cycles with my son, or my girls for that matter. You know what I'm saying? Because it'll come to them too, because they'll get with a man that was the same way.
Yeah, it sounds like you got purpose, man. You have to do some sacrificing. You have to sacrifice some stuff and, I don't know, devise a plan, some type of strategy. Like, if you don't want your woman to work, and you already said it, you have 5 children, you don't want her to work, but if she does bring something to the table, that's a plus. The things that she is doing is not really bringing money in. It is taking time. Now, can I say something just really quick? Because you gave me a lot of information. I just want to say something. Just my opinion. My professional opinion, but my opinion nonetheless. Here we go. All right. if you are going to be the breadwinner and you finna be doing a lot of working and away from home, but when you come home, I would, okay, I'm going to, permission to speak freely. I'm just going to say what I want to say just for a second. I can't really be PC with what I'm going to say. All right, so this is my mind. If you're doing a lot of work and you're doing some hard labor, that type of stuff, or at least you're just doing manual labor, you're working with your hands, or even if you was working with your mind, either way, you're coming home to your castle with your children, with your lady. Maybe when you do get home, mama could already have the children understanding that daddy need about, 30 minutes to an hour. Let him decompress. Let him go in his room. Let him take his clothes off. Let him do what he needs to do. Let him sit down. Then, you know what I'm saying, now he can engage with y'all. Like maybe have some of that type of structure involved to where it's like a halfway. Like, I understand that mama been home all day with the children. That's a very hard job. So I'm not finna poo-poo that in any kind of way. You also have a responsibility as well. So we're a team. She's my helpmate. She's my helpmeet, right? We help each other. So we're different and we have different functions. So if I'm out here and I'm protected, I'm providing, when I come home to my council, well, I need some sanity. I need some peace. I need some cooperation, at least for a little bit. And then we can engage. You know what I'm saying? Because I know that's real life. It ain't going to be like, well, I'm not trying to be in no fantasy world, but let your boy at least get through the threshold of the door. Let me at least take my clothes off. You know what I'm saying? Let me decompress for a second, get this day off of me, and then now turn into daddy and husband. Let me do that. Like that's my opinion. And I don't have any children, so I have the, context. I have to say that. But I just see it in the sense of, if I'm going to do this, then you need to do this. You run this efficiently. You run this correctly, and I'm going to do my part. But then also on your end, you got to figure out how you can make more money. That's one thing I would say, too. Like, devise a plan, strategize to how you can make more money, even if it's in what you're doing now or if it's in something different. But you got time. Lord willing, God willing, Creator willing, you got time. So because you're not old. So, and if you already know this is what you want to do with your family, you gotta get that working. I'm gonna say something too, though. You pointed this out. She's a jack of many, but a master of none. What is she mastered in the sense of, like, I understand that we want to do all these different things, but if we are going to do something, let's try to see something through to where we can now start getting a little residual, and then we can branch off, or then we can scale. But we've invested time, we've invested money, we've invested energy into this. We need something to come back from that, because we plant seeds, we sowing seeds, and they say you reap what you sow. And a lot of people take that negatively because you can, but you can take that positively as well. I sow positive, more than likely positive will come back. I sow negative, more than likely negative will come back. There's always exceptions to every rule, but for the most part, generally, we on the same pole. That's what's going to happen. So if you put all that time and energy into something, that's taken away from the household. Well, so we the same way on my end. If I'm doing all this, I need to be bringing something to it. So that's all. But if you cool with the way that's structured, I'm okay with that as well. It's just that on your side, you gotta, you know what I'm saying? That gotta boost. You gotta figure it out, because you got a lot. You got a lot on your table.
Right. Now, we have had those conversations, and I can say, now granted, my kids are young. You know what I mean? I got 12, I got an 8, I got a 6, a 2, and a 1-year-old. Now, them coming to the door, meeting me, I love it. Don't get me wrong. Like, Daddy, all that running up to me, hugging me and stuff like that, wife meeting me at the door, that stuff boosts you. It makes you feel good. Now, we have had those conversations of, she already know how I am. Real reserved, laid back, kind of like how you explained about your dad. You know what I mean? You already know that of me too. Like, granted, I got a wife and kids. Sometimes if I just want to be in a room, I'm going to be in the room, you know what I'm saying, like away from everybody. And she always has said that, especially like when it comes to being with other people, like people that we've come to meet and stuff like that. Like, you need to socialize more, you need to get out more. And I probably do, especially with other men, married men, you know what I mean, to really talk. Or if it's a single man, he's got to have his mind right and ain't on that foolery, because I ain't on that no more. You know what I'm saying? But, she does try and do stuff like that, like with the kids, and let them know, like, okay, look, y'all know Dad just got home. She try to make sure the house is clean. The house be clean but it's messy because toys are always somewhere. You know what I mean? So that I can deal with. But I'm like a neat freak. You know what I'm saying? So you can't dismiss toys gonna be somewhere. But as far as like the dirtiness of it, you know, it's never that. So she tried to make sure stuff like that be picked up, because I remember reading somewhere sometime. I don't know if this is off subject, but like even like your mind can be all over the place. Like say you got a mess in your attic, you don't see it. You know what I mean? It's far removed from you, but knowing that it's there in the back of your mind when you got clutter, it messes up your way of thinking and all that stuff. So she knows like I'm big on stuff like that. Like we got to try to keep this house clean and stuff like that. So she'll try to make sure things are straightening up, and she will tell the kids like, you know, if she see it and be like, you know, Dad is tired. Now as far as you saying like about making money, we just had this conversation a couple of days ago when we were talking about having this call. That's why I was like, you know, I am all for that. You know what I mean? Even though I'm nearly making almost $30 an hour right now where I'm at now, it's still not enough. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, you know, I make decent money, but it's like I know I could be making more. So that's why, you know, with all the systems and different things, you know, we have been trying to work on, you know, I told them like this year, like we really, really got to do it. Like, we'll say for instance, like last year we spent over $1,000 to set up a business that we haven't even done anything with. We've done this multiple times with different businesses that we said we mutually agreed on. And sometimes it has been me, where like we try to set up a cleaning business. What we did, got systems in place and stuff like that, paid for, you know, the website and all the info on how to really do it. And it was like a cleaning business where we're basically like brokering it. Like we not cleaning the houses. You know what I mean? There's many businesses out there like that where it's just, you know, we're putting the cleaners together with the homes that need to be cleaned. We're just making a little bit off of it, you know what I mean? And they making some. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it's stuff like that. Like we know it's like it's time for that. We ain't getting no younger, you know what I'm saying? And we know there's a lot of things we're trying to do in life, a lot of places we're trying to go, you know what I mean, and see and just do, and just the freedom, you know what I'm saying, of just being free. You know what I mean? Especially with the way the world is going now, you know what I mean? It's like it's you gotta be funded, you know what I'm saying? Because it's going to get to a point where, you know, it ain't got nothing. You just kind of out of luck. You know what I mean? The middle class is about to be obsolete. It's going to either you're rich or you're poor, in a sense. So I feel like that's where it's going. And, you know, like you said some key things, though, and it's real, and we have had those conversations, and, you know, the awareness is already there. It's just, you know, I think we all used to say this back in the day, you know, man with a plan is a dangerous man. But it's really about executing that. Yeah, you can have the plan, but if you ain't executing the plan, you ain't getting nowhere. And so it's really just about executing the plans that we have and all the stuff like that we've already got in place. You know what I mean? Get them to work, because they just haven't worked for so long, and I'm tired of it, man. You know what I mean? Like, I'll be telling my coworker all the time. He be laughing at me though. Like man, I'm gonna be retired. Now he like 60 something. He was like, yeah, he's talking about he's gonna be retired in the next couple of years. I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to be retired in the next couple of years too. And by the end of this year, he always be laughing. I'm like, man, look, bro, I don't believe in what the world say. I got to get to a certain age to retire. It don't take age to retire. It take income to retire, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm a firm believer on that. Like, I can retire. I could have been retired in my 20s had I had the income. You know what I mean? Just sitting back traveling. But, you know, I'm with you on that. I thank you for that.
Yeah, so they talk about that knowledge. Yeah, but see, knowing something, that knowledge, and they talk about that knowledge is the power. So you come into the new information, you know something, and they say it's powerful. I disagree. I say that if you know it, you need to apply it. Apply that shit to your life.
Right.
That's the power in it. Well, cuz I really appreciate you doing this with me. If you would like to, I would want to, you know, do something again. I end every show this way. So what do you call me? How do we meet?
So Dub is what I call you. That's what I call you. Every now and then I might call you by your name, but you're Dub. You're Dub. Kind of like that old name from the day. And we met because we're family. We've been knowing each other, I guess, since birth. But, of course, knowing each other since we were young kids, you know what I mean? I mean, we're first cousins, so second cousins, actually. So that's how I've been knowing you, and that's what I call you.
There we go. I appreciate that. See, I have so many people on here. I talk to so many people, and everybody call me something different. I got so many people in this world that would never call me Eric. Like I be like, bro, Eric Gil Whiteley, that's my name, bro. Like, but they won't call me Eric for shit. So it's cool. It's all love.
I can't even remember last time I actually said Eric to you. Now, if I'm to you, I'm gonna call you Dub. But like if I'm talking about you to, like my wife or something, me and Crystal might talk about you, I might say Eric. You know what I'm saying? It's I don't know.
Yeah.
But I address you as Dub.
There we go. I love it.
Put the F down.
All right, cuz. Well, hold on. Let me stop this, and then we can chat. Give me 1 second.
All right.
Put the F down. 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 Man, put the F down and come solve these problems.
Understand I don't know y'all. Remember, I love everybody. I am not your licensed therapist, and nothing shared on this podcast should be taken as medical, mental health, or legal advice. The discussions we have here are for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes only. We engage in open, honest conversations, sometimes including the mindful use of cannabis in a therapeutic setting. So kick back, take what resonates, and remember, always consult your own licensed professional for personalized guidance.